Hello everyone. Before we dive into the epic story of life on Earth, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Tell us in the comments where you are watching from, because today we embark on a journey through time, witnessing the rise of life in its most spectacular forms. Long before the continents took their present shapes, before any mammal or human existed, the skies and forests of early Earth were already alive with motion. Life began in the oceans, microscopic and fragile, yet relentless in its struggle to survive. As billions of years passed, some of these early life forms ventured out of water, adapting to new challenges and claiming new realms. Among these early conquerors of the sky were the first birds, delicate yet highly specialized creatures capable of mastering flight. Their wings sliced through the air, feathers catching the light of the ancient sun. Each bird was a testament to evolution's ingenuity, a fragile miracle of aerodynamics and survival. The birds were not merely survivors, but architects of ecosystems. Their calls filled prehistoric forests, creating complex soundscapes that marked territories and attracted mates. Their nests, carefully constructed from twigs, leaves, and mud, became cradles for future generations. Birds shaped the world around them, aiding in seed dispersal and fostering the growth of new plants, thus knitting the fragile tapestry of early terrestrial life. As they soared above the landscape, the interplay of predator and prey, hunter and hunted, created a dynamic ecosystem where only the adaptable would thrive. Their presence also heralded the evolution of sensory perception. Early birds needed keen eyesight to spot predators and prey, forcing the growth of brains capable of complex processing. This evolutionary pressure rippled through the forests, affecting insects, plants, and other animals that shared the same habitats. Even the slightest movement on the forest floor or a shadow passing overhead could decide life or death. The skies and trees became theaters of relentless adaptation, an arena where every creature had to innovate or vanish. Flight gave birds an edge that few others possessed. They could escape predators, exploit new habitats, and move swiftly across landscapes. Their evolution set a precedent for life in the air, showing that the conquest of a new environment required both physical adaptation and behavioral intelligence. Through their lives, we can glimpse the first signs of organized social behavior, migration patterns, and intricate ecological networks. Birds were the living evidence that evolution favors innovation, and their story is the first chapter in the unfolding saga of life. Insects. In the lush, early landscapes of Earth, long before flowers colored the world or birds dominated the skies, insects were the pioneers of terrestrial life. They were tiny, almost invisible in their beginning, yet their impact was immense and profound. Life on land was still precarious, and ecosystems were fragile. The first insects emerged from the shadows of ancient plants and damp soils, bringing with them an intricate network of survival strategies honed through millions of years of evolution. Their exoskeletons, delicate wings, and segmented bodies were marvels of natural engineering, allowing them to survive harsh climates, predators, and the ever-changing face of the planet. Insects were not merely survivors, they were innovators. Their flight, though fragile, opened new dimensions of exploration. Wings allowed them to traverse the skies in search of food, mates, and safe habitats. Some crawled through the underbrush, breaking down organic matter and recycling nutrients back into the soil, making life possible for plants and animals that depended on fertile land. They formed the first connections between species, pollinating early plants in a silent, mechanical dance that would shape evolution for eons. Without insects, forests and flowers would not flourish. Without insects, life above the soil might have remained stagnant. As the eons passed, the variety of insects expanded at a breathtaking pace. Dragonflies with wingspans rivaling birds soared above lakes and rivers, while ants and beetles engineered colonies and tunnels that were marvels of collective intelligence. Each species had its role, its niche, its contribution to the intricate web of life. The air vibrated with the hum of wings and the soft patter of tiny feet across leaves and soil. The insects' success lay in their adaptability. They survived mass extinctions, shifts in climate, and the rise of new predators, all the while shaping the ecosystems in which they lived. The evolution of insects was deeply intertwined with the first plants. Pollination became a silent partnership, a mutually beneficial relationship that ensured the survival of both flora and fauna. Flowers evolved in response to the movements and senses of insects, creating colors, scents, and patterns designed to attract these small navigators of the natural world. In turn, insects developed complex behaviors, communication methods, and sensory organs to exploit these new opportunities. This delicate balance of give and take was one of nature's earliest ecological symphonies, and it laid the foundation for the explosion of life that would follow. Insects also contributed to the evolution of flight in other species. Their mastery of the air demonstrated the immense advantage of wings, of mobility beyond the ground, of the ability to escape predators and reach new territories. Predatory insects developed strategies to hunt, evade, and survive in competitive environments, teaching the world that even the smallest creatures could wield extraordinary power. Insects thrived not because they were large or strong, but because they were versatile, resilient, and perfectly adapted to the opportunities presented by the ever-changing earth. In every leaf, every flower, every inch of soil, their influence could be felt. Their legacy is written not only in the soil and plants they nurtured, but in every species that would follow, including birds, the first flyers, and the mighty dinosaurs. The groundwork for all complex life had been laid by these tiny, tireless engineers of survival. First Flyer, the story of flight on Earth, took another dramatic leap as evolution experimented with vertebrates capable of taking to the air. While insects had already mastered the skies in miniature, the first true flyers were something altogether more extraordinary. Small feathered creatures emerged from the dense forests, their limbs elongated and wings forming through millennia of subtle genetic change. Their bodies were lightweight yet strong, adapted to the pressures of aerial motion, with hollow bones and powerful muscles fine-tuned for lift and maneuverability. These early aviators represented a revolutionary shift in the dynamics of life on Earth, the conquest of a new dimension, the opening of skies that had previously belonged only to the winds and the clouds. They moved with a mix of hesitation and instinct, leaping from branch to branch, testing the limits of gravity, feeling the rush of air beneath their wings. Every flap was a negotiation with the elements. Every glide, a lesson in balance and control. Predators watched from below, the first eyes that tracked aerial movement with interest and anticipation, forcing the flyers to refine their agility, speed, and intelligence. These creatures were not only adapting their bodies, but also their strategies for survival, marking the earliest signs of behavioral sophistication in the animal kingdom. As these first flyers ventured further from the forests, they encountered other life forms transformed by evolution. Insects buzzed below in an intricate dance. Early plants offered shelter and sustenance, and competition arose from the very ground they had left behind. Flight offered not only escape and exploration, but new methods of hunting, scavenging, and navigating the environment. It allowed life to spread across continents and ecosystems that would have been otherwise unreachable, setting the stage for a cascade of evolutionary innovation. The emergence of flight invertebrates also influenced the evolution of other species. Predators adapted to track prey from the air, and the development of flight in one species triggered complex interactions that would reshape ecosystems. Trees began to host new nesting opportunities. Flowers began to exploit aerial pollinators in subtle coevolutionary strategies, and small mammals and reptiles observed these airborne pioneers, learning to adapt their behavior to a world that was increasingly three-dimensional. Flight was more than movement. It was a revolution in how life interacted with the planet. The skies above these early forests were filled with motion, a network of delicate creatures navigating the winds with extraordinary precision. Each flyer represented countless generations of trial, error, and adaptation, a living testament to the power of evolutionary innovation. From their delicate feathers to their sharp vision, every aspect of their existence was tuned to the challenges and opportunities of the aerial domain. And as they took their place in the skies, they paved the way for the next wave of life to flourish fruits, flowers, and the spreading forests that would define the future of Earth's biosphere. The first flyers were both fragile and fearless, embodying the potential of life to overcome the boundaries of its environment. In mastering flight, they changed the rules of survival forever, demonstrating that evolution is not linear, but a bold experiment across countless generations. Their presence in the air initiated a silent revolution, influencing plants, insects, and predators alike, orchestrating the intricate symphony that is life on Earth. First fruit as life in the skies and forests evolved. Another transformation quietly reshaped the land, the emergence of the first fruits. These remarkable structures were not merely sources of sustenance. They were evolutionary innovations, intricate designs, crafted to ensure the survival and dispersal of plant species. Before fruits, plants relied largely on wind and water to spread their seeds, a method fraught with uncertainty. The first fruits, however, offered a solution that was elegant and sophisticated, a reward for animals that would carry seeds to new locations, forging a silent partnership between flora and fauna. The earliest fruits were simple in appearance, but complex in function. Small, fleshy structures grew from the protective ovules of ancient plants, offering nourishment in exchange for transport. Animals, ranging from insects to the earliest vertebrates capable of flight, were drawn to these gifts, consuming the fruit and inadvertently scattering the seeds across the land. This mutualistic relationship revolutionized ecosystems, enabling plants to colonize vast areas with efficiency previously unimaginable. With each bite, chew, or swallow, seeds were carried to fertile soils, planting the foundations for forests, groves, and wild landscapes yet to come. This innovation triggered a cascade of evolutionary consequences. Plants that produced fruit were naturally selected for traits that made them more attractive and accessible. Colors that caught the eye of flying insects and early bird scents that wafted across the air to signal ripeness. Textures that encouraged consumption and dispersal. Meanwhile, animals evolved to exploit these offerings, developing sensory acuity, agility, and behaviors tuned to locating and processing these resources. The interplay between early fruit-bearing plants and the creatures that consumed them formed one of the earliest examples of coevolution, a delicate balance that would shape the trajectory of terrestrial life for millions of years. The first fruits were more than food. They were instruments of communication, survival, and adaptation. Each fruit that ripened was a signal to the surrounding world, a beacon that intertwined the lives of plants and animals in complex networks of dependency. The forests became richer and more diverse as fruit-bearing plants spread, attracting a growing array of species. Birds, mammals, and even early reptiles became key agents in this reproductive strategy, unwitting gardeners of the ancient world. Over time, entire landscapes were transformed, each fruiting season a renewal of life and an expansion of biodiversity. As the first flyers navigated these forests, they discovered the bounty of the fruiting trees. Flight allowed them to reach clusters of fruit beyond the reach of ground-dwelling creatures, establishing aerial highways of consumption and seed dispersal. Insects played their part, pollinating flowers and ensuring that fruit would follow. The first fruits thus became central to the survival of ecosystems, tying together the lives of flyers, crawlers, and plants in a web of interdependence. Through this innovation, the Earth entered a new chapter where the creativity of evolution produced forms and behaviors that were as functional as they were beautiful. The emergence of fruit was a subtle yet revolutionary act in the story of life. It showcased the ingenuity of nature, how survival could be intertwined with cooperation, how beauty could serve purpose, and how even the smallest adaptations could reverberate across the planet. The first fruits laid the groundwork for future forests, for complex ecosystems, and for life forms that would one day include humans, who would marvel at the simple, profound act of a fruit ripening under the sun. First flower in the vast ancient forests of Earth. A revolution was quietly unfolding, hidden beneath the canopies and amidst the creeping vines. The first flowers began to bloom, fragile yet extraordinary. These early blossoms were unlike anything that had ever existed. Their petals, delicate structures of vibrant pigmentation, crafted not only to endure the elements, but to communicate with the surrounding world. They were the product of billions of years of evolutionary experimentation, a culmination of environmental pressures, genetic adaptation, and ecological opportunity. Each bloom represented a silent declaration. Life on land was entering a new era of complexity and interconnection. Before flowers, the planet had already witnessed the rise of trees, fruits, and the first flyers. But flowers introduced an entirely new dynamic. They were not merely reproductive organs. They were sophisticated tools designed to ensure survival, attracting the attention of insects, birds, and other creatures in a subtle yet profoundly effective strategy. Colors, scents, shapes, and patterns evolved in precise harmony with the sensory capabilities of pollinators. Some blooms reflected ultraviolet light, invisible to humans but dazzling to insects, guiding them with pinpoint accuracy to nectar and pollen. Others developed striking contrasts and symmetrical forms, enticing creatures through visual allure and rewarding their visits with sustenance. ensuring the continuation of plant lineages. The first flowers were not random accidents. They were the result of a long evolutionary trajectory shaped by selection pressures that demanded efficiency, resilience, and adaptation. Insects, the earliest aerial navigators and pollinators, responded to these cues with astonishing precision. Their movements across petals and stamens ensured that pollen was transferred effectively, fertilizing ovules and guaranteeing the creation of seeds. This co-evolutionary dance between flora and fauna created one of the earliest examples of mutualistic relationships, a partnership that would redefine ecosystems for millions of years to come. As flowers spread across continents, they influenced the behavior and morphology of nearly every creature that interacted with them. Birds developed longer beaks and more precise flight patterns to access nectar hidden deep within corollas. Insects evolved specialized mouthparts, compound eyes, and enhanced cognitive abilities to locate and exploit floral resources. The emergence of flowering plants created a cascade of opportunities, new niches, diversified diets, and intricate food webs that shaped evolutionary pathways in profound ways. Forests transformed into vibrant arenas of activity, their floors and branches teeming with life, dependent on the ephemeral beauty of the blossoms. The presence of flowers also drove the development of seasonal rhythms and ecological cycles. Blooming periods dictated migration patterns, breeding seasons, and foraging behaviors. Predators adapted to the increased activity around flowering trees, while herbivores timed their growth and reproduction with the abundance of plant life. Even the structure of forests changed. Flowering plants required sunlight, pollinator access, and soil nutrients, prompting competition, adaptation, and cooperation across species. Flowers were no longer mere reproductive entities. They were central orchestrators of ecological balance, catalysts of diversification, and symbols of life's resilience and ingenuity. Beyond their ecological impact, flowers held the potential for symbolic significance long before humans ever existed to appreciate them. Their colors and forms influenced light distribution, temperature regulation, and microhabitats within the forest canopy. Flowers contributed organic matter upon decay, enriching soils and fostering the growth of other plants. Each blossom was a miniature ecosystem, supporting fungi, insects, and microorganisms in an intricate web of life. The evolution of flowers represented not just beauty, but a critical turning point, a convergence of biology, ecology, and the physics of survival that would define life on Earth for eons. In witnessing the first flowers, one observes a masterclass in evolutionary ingenuity. They demonstrate how life finds novel solutions to the problems of survival, reproduction, and dispersal. They embody the delicate balance between fragility and resilience, attraction and protection, adaptation and innovation. And as the first fruits had followed, so too did the ecosystems flourish around flowering plants, their influence extending far beyond the immediate environment, touching every branch, leaf, and creature that shared the land. Flowers had transformed Earth into a canvas of interaction, signaling the dawn of intricate ecological networks, and setting the stage for forests that would tower, for fruits that would nourish, and for a world where life became both diverse and deeply interdependent. First tree, long before humans walked the earth, before the first flowers had colored the forests, or the earliest fruits had nourished life, a monumental evolutionary achievement took root, the first true trees. Towering, resolute, and resilient, these giants of the plant kingdom represented a pivotal step in the transformation of terrestrial life. Unlike the low-lying shrubs and primitive plants that had dominated the land, trees reached for the sky, creating vertical space in ecosystems that had previously been defined by the horizontal spread of life. Their emergence was not merely a botanical event, it was a redefinition of the physical and ecological structure of the planet itself. The earliest trees were astonishing in their complexity. Their trunks were reinforced with lignin, providing structural integrity that allowed them to grow taller than any plant before them. Their roots delved deep into the soil, seeking water and nutrients, while anchoring the organism firmly against the forces of wind, erosion, and gravity. Branches and leaves extended toward the sun, forming intricate canopies that intercepted light and created microclimates beneath. Each tree became a vertical ecosystem in its own right, supporting mosses, fungi, insects, and eventually birds and mammals. These pioneering trees changed the very atmosphere, regulating oxygen, humidity, and temperature across landscapes in ways that smaller plants never could. The first trees also catalyzed dramatic changes in biodiversity. By creating shaded understories, they offered protection for countless species from the harsh rays of the sun and predators above. Birds found refuge in their branches, insects in their bark, and early mammals in the safety of their roots. The vertical complexity of trees allowed life to occupy multiple strata of the environment simultaneously, creating niches that encouraged diversification and specialization. The forests that grew from these first trees were not mere aggregations of plants. They were intricate, interdependent networks of life, where each organism played a role in sustaining the whole. Trees also fundamentally transformed the nutrient cycles of Earth. Fallen leaves, decayed branches, and organic debris enriched soils, enabling subsequent generations of plants to flourish. Water cycles were stabilized as roots absorbed rain and prevented excessive runoff, while transpiration from leaves influenced humidity and cloud formation. The first trees, in essence, began the long process of engineering the planet's climate, shaping conditions in which other complex life forms could thrive. By creating stable and rich habitats, trees set the stage for the evolutionary explosion that would follow in the age of dinosaurs and beyond. The growth of these first trees was a battle of survival as much as an architectural feat. The interplay of light, wind, gravity, and predation shaped forms that were both functional and elegant, reflecting millions of years of natural selection. Every branch and leaf was a solution to environmental challenges, every seed a gamble on the future. In essence, trees became living monuments to evolution's power, standing as both guardians and facilitators of life on Earth. As the forests expanded, so too did the complexity of ecological interactions. The first trees provided the scaffolding for flowering plants, fruits, and later, animals that would depend on vertical spaces for movement, hunting, and nesting. They influenced patterns of migration, feeding, and reproductive behavior in countless species. With each passing millennium, these forests became denser, taller, and more diverse, setting the stage for the largest creatures the planet would ever see, the dinosaurs. The first trees, by claiming the sky and altering the land, had not only redefined ecosystems, but had rewritten the rules of life itself, creating opportunities and challenges that would drive evolution for millions of years to come. As Earth's forests matured and ecosystems became increasingly complex, a new chapter in the story of life began to unfold: the rise of the dinosaurs. Emerging over 230 million years ago during the late Triassic period, these creatures were unlike anything that had existed before. With their extraordinary diversity, ranging from small, agile hunters to colossal, towering herbivores, dinosaurs became the dominant terrestrial vertebrates, reshaping ecosystems and rewriting the rules of survival. Their evolution was not random. It was the product of environmental pressures, genetic potential, and the dynamic interplay of predators, prey, and climate. Dinosaurs exhibited an astonishing variety of adaptations. Bipedal predators like the velociraptor relied on agility, sharp claws, and keen senses to hunt, while massive sauropods, such as Argentinosaurus, relied on size, long necks, and herd behavior to forage efficiently and deter predators. Armor-plated stegosaurs and ceratopsians developed defensive structures, spikes, horns, and plates to survive in a world of relentless competition. Some species evolved complex social behaviors, traveling in herds, communicating through vocalizations, and protecting the young in organized strategies that rivaled modern mammals. Evolution had crafted these creatures into marvels of anatomy, physiology, and survival strategy, each uniquely adapted to its ecological niche. The dominance of dinosaurs had far-reaching ecological consequences. Forests and plains were continuously shaped by their feeding behaviors. Herbivorous dinosaurs pruned trees and shrubs, influencing plant evolution, while carnivorous species maintained population control over herbivores and other smaller animals. Their presence encouraged mobility, intelligence, and adaptations among other life forms. Insects, birds, and mammals were forced to evolve strategies for avoidance, exploitation, or symbiosis. The interactions of dinosaurs with their environment created a web of dependencies and feedback loops that drove the diversification of life across continents. Dinosaurs also influenced the atmospheric and geological processes of the planet. Massive herds of herbivores accelerated the cycling of nutrients through soils, aiding in plant growth and forest expansion. Their sheer size and activity shaped landscapes, trails worn into the earth, impact on riverbanks, and even local climate modifications in densely populated areas. The rhythmic, unyielding presence of these giants left an imprint on every layer of the ecosystem, a testament to the profound influence a single group of organisms can exert over millions of years. Reproduction and survival strategies among dinosaurs were equally fascinating. Many species laid numerous eggs, often in communal nesting grounds, ensuring the survival of at least some offspring in a world filled with predators. Others exhibited parental care, guarding nests and teaching young behaviors crucial for survival. These behaviors suggest a level of sophistication that reflects complex cognitive abilities, social interaction, and environmental awareness. Their lives were not merely governed by instinct, but by adaptations honed through countless generations of evolutionary trial and error. The rise of dinosaurs marked the pinnacle of Mesozoic ecosystems. Their diversity, adaptability, and dominance set the stage for the spectacular era that would follow, known as the Age of Dinosaurs. During this time, evolutionary experimentation reached unprecedented levels, from gigantic long-necked sauropods to small feathered protobirds. Every ecological niche was exploited. Dinosaurs were architects of the biosphere, shaping forests, rivers, and plains through feeding, movement, and survival. Their presence catalyzed the evolution of countless other species, ensuring that life on Earth became more complex, resilient, and interconnected than ever before. Era of Dinosaurs. The era of dinosaurs was a period of unparalleled evolutionary experimentation and ecological dominance, stretching over more than 160 million years, from the late Triassic through the Jurassic and into the Cretaceous periods. This era transformed Earth into a living laboratory of extraordinary diversity and adaptation. Continents drifted, climates shifted, and ecosystems expanded, but the dinosaurs remained the ruling vertebrates, filling every niche from the smallest undergrowth hunters to the colossal giants that towered over forests. Their reign was marked not merely by size and ferocity, but by the intricate balance of ecological interactions that defined the Mesozoic world. During this era, dinosaurs evolved into astonishingly specialized forms. Apex predators like Tyrannosaurus rex developed extraordinary jaw strength, keen eyesight, and complex hunting strategies that made them the ultimate hunters of their ecosystems. Meanwhile, herbivores such as Triceratops and Ankylosaurus evolved protective armor and defensive tactics to survive in a landscape dominated by predators. Sauropods, with their enormous sizes and long necks, could reach leaves high in the canopy, transforming vegetation structures and opening new ecological opportunities for other species. Even smaller species adapted in extraordinary ways, whether through speed, camouflage, or social coordination, demonstrating the incredible breadth of evolutionary innovation during this period. The ecological influence of dinosaurs extended far beyond their immediate feeding habits. Forests, wetlands, and plains were continuously reshaped by their presence, as grazing and browsing behaviors influenced plant succession, seed dispersal, and nutrient cycling. Rivers and lakes were modified by the movement of herds, and predator-prey dynamics drove the evolution of intelligence, agility, and defensive adaptations across numerous species. Insects, early birds, and small mammals adapted to this world, finding niches within the ever-changing Mesozoic landscapes. Every creature, from the smallest beetle to the largest titanosaur, was part of a web of interaction defined by the presence and pressures of the dinosaurs. Social structures among dinosaurs became increasingly complex. Some species traveled in herds, migrating across continents to exploit seasonal resources and avoid environmental extremes. Nesting behaviors evolved, with some species protecting eggs and offspring, indicating an early form of parental care and social intelligence. Communication through vocalizations, body language, and visual displays allowed coordination and warning of threats, revealing levels of behavioral sophistication that would later be echoed in birds and mammals. The era of dinosaurs was not a static period. It was dynamic, filled with evolutionary arms races and adaptive breakthroughs that shaped the biosphere in profound ways. The geological and climatic context of this era further amplified the impact of dinosaurs. Continental drift altered habitats, creating mountain ranges, deserts, and new coastlines that forced adaptation and migration. Volcanic activity, fluctuating sea levels, and climatic shifts presented constant challenges, yet dinosaurs thrived, demonstrating resilience and evolutionary flexibility. Their physical and behavioral adaptations allowed them to exploit every ecological opportunity, from lush floodplains to arid highlands, making them not just survivors, but dominant architects of their world. The interplay between the environment and these creatures drove innovation and diversification at a scale rarely matched in the history of life on Earth. Throughout the era of dinosaurs, the biosphere was in a state of constant flux, with life responding to pressures both subtle and dramatic. Every species that coexisted with dinosaurs, whether predator, prey, or symbiont, was shaped by their presence. Forests grew taller and denser, flowering plants spread, insects diversified, and early mammals learned to navigate a world overshadowed by giants. The era demonstrated the power of evolutionary experimentation, showing how a single group of organisms could dominate for millions of years, yet remain intricately linked to the health, diversity, and dynamics of the entire biosphere. This period was a testament to resilience, innovation, and the relentless creativity of natural selection, setting the stage for the dramatic changes that would come with their extinction and the rise of mammals. Extinction of dinosaurs after reigning over Earth for more than 160 million years. The dinosaurs faced one of the most dramatic and catastrophic events in the history of life. Their mass extinction at the end of the Cretaceous period, approximately 66 million years ago. This was not a single, sudden incident, but a complex convergence of geological, astronomical, and environmental forces that reshaped the planet forever. The age of giants that had dominated the land, sky, and forests came to an abrupt and irreversible end, paving the way for a new era dominated by mammals and other survivors. Evidence from the fossil record, impact craters, and global geological layers points to a colossal asteroid or comet striking near the Yucatan Peninsula in present-day Mexico. The impact released unimaginable energy equivalent to billions of nuclear bombs, triggering massive wildfires, earthquakes, and tsunamis that devastated coastal and inland ecosystems alike. The immediate aftermath created a global impact winter, with dust and aerosols blocking sunlight, drastically reducing photosynthesis and collapsing food chains. Plants wilted, herbivores starved, and predators followed swiftly as the finely balanced ecosystems that had evolved over millions of years unraveled in a matter of months. Volcanic activity in what is now India, known as the Deccan Traps, may have amplified the disaster. Continuous eruptions released immense volumes of lava, sulfur dioxide, and carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, further altering climate and acidifying oceans. These combined catastrophes created an inhospitable environment for large reptiles, especially those requiring stable habitats, abundant food, and long gestation periods. Smaller animals, including certain mammals, birds, and reptiles with more flexible diets and life cycles, were better able to survive the environmental turmoil, giving them a unique evolutionary advantage in the post-dinosaur world. The extinction of dinosaurs was a complex ecological phenomenon with cascading consequences. Forests that had been shaped by herbivorous and omnivorous dinosaurs collapsed, releasing nutrients back into soils and creating open landscapes suitable for new plant communities. Predatory niches were left vacant, prompting rapid adaptive radiation among surviving species. This extinction event also accelerated the evolution of birds, which were direct descendants of theropod dinosaurs, and mammals, which began to expand in size, diversity, and ecological roles previously unavailable to them. Life on Earth had been forced to reinvent itself, with the extinction of dinosaurs serving as a brutal yet transformative reset of the biosphere. Fossil evidence shows that the last dinosaurs were diverse in form, behavior, and habitat preference, yet none could withstand the convergence of catastrophic events. Giant sauropods, towering carnivores, and armored herbivores alike vanished from the fossil record. Only those species with specific traits, smaller size, rapid reproduction, and ecological flexibility survived to form the foundation of new evolutionary pathways. The planet entered a new chapter, where the absence of dinosaurs allowed other vertebrates to flourish, opening ecological opportunities that would ultimately give rise to mammals, flowering forests, and eventually humans. The extinction of dinosaurs remains one of the most dramatic lessons in Earth's history, illustrating the fragility of even the most dominant life forms in the face of cosmic and geological forces. It underscores the intricate connections between species, climate, and catastrophic events, showing that survival depends not merely on strength or size, but on adaptability, resilience, and timing. The world left behind after the dinosaurs' demise was a transformed landscape, richer in opportunity for the survivors, yet forever marked by the loss of giants that had ruled the Earth for over 160 million years. In a sense, their extinction was not an end, but a prelude, a clearing of the stage for the rise of mammals and the eventual emergence of modern life forms, whose lineage would trace its origins to the fragile, resilient survivors of this cataclysm. Mammals, with the catastrophic extinction of the dinosaurs, Earth's ecosystems entered a transformative era, where the survivors of the mass extinction began to redefine life on the planet. Among the most remarkable of these survivors were the mammals, small, adaptable, and often overlooked creatures during the reign of the giants. Now given the ecological freedom to expand, diversify, and evolve in ways previously impossible. From tiny, shrew-like animals that scuttled beneath the undergrowth to primitive marsupials exploring the forest floor, mammals were poised to inherit a world reshaped by cosmic catastrophe and geological upheaval. The evolutionary journey of mammals was characterized by remarkable adaptability and ingenuity. Freed from the dominance of dinosaurs, mammals began to explore new habitats, exploiting ecological niches that had been previously inaccessible. Forest floors, riverbanks, open plains, and eventually subterranean environments became laboratories of natural experimentation. Their small size, flexible diet, and reproductive strategies allowed them to respond rapidly to environmental changes, and their sensory acuity, including refined olfaction, hearing, and in some cases, vision, provided critical advantages in a world still fraught with predators and environmental challenges. Over millions of years, mammals diversified into an astonishing array of forms. Some evolved for speed and agility, others for strength and endurance, and still others for intelligence and social cooperation. They developed specialized teeth, digestive systems, and limb structures to exploit plants, insects, and small vertebrates. Complex behaviors emerged: nocturnal activity to avoid predation, burrowing to protect young social groupings for defense and cooperation, and even early communication through vocalizations and scent markings. These adaptations were not merely responses to survival pressures. They were innovations that laid the groundwork for the rich tapestry of mammalian life that would dominate future eras. The proliferation of mammals also influenced the evolution of plants, insects, and other vertebrates. As mammals foraged, they dispersed seeds, pollinated plants, and altered vegetation patterns, mirroring the mutualistic strategies that had once defined the first fruit and flowering plants. Predatory mammals controlled populations of smaller animals, shaping ecosystems in intricate and sometimes unexpected ways. Over time, mammals became keystone species, driving evolutionary change and ecological balance across continents. Forests, plains, and wetlands all reflected the presence and activity of these versatile and intelligent animals. As millions of years passed, mammals evolved increasingly complex behaviors, cognitive abilities, and social structures. Parental care became more sophisticated, with nurturing behaviors ensuring the survival of offspring. Some species developed intricate communication networks, cooperation in hunting and defense, and territorial behaviors that organized populations and reduced conflict. The capacity for learning and adaptation allowed mammals to thrive in diverse environments, from dense forests to open grasslands, high mountains to arid deserts, marking a decisive shift in Earth's biosphere. The rise of mammals represents one of the most remarkable chapters in evolutionary history. These creatures, once overshadowed by the titanic dinosaurs, became architects of the post-Mesozoic world, shaping ecosystems, promoting biodiversity, and setting the stage for the eventual emergence of primates and, ultimately, humans. Their story is one of resilience, innovation, and the relentless drive of life to adapt and flourish, even in the aftermath of catastrophic change. In inheriting a world transformed by extinction, mammals demonstrated that survival is not merely about strength or size, but about flexibility, intelligence, and the capacity to exploit new opportunities with ingenuity and persistence. Through their evolution, mammals forged connections across ecosystems, influencing vegetation, predators, prey, and environmental cycles. They became central players in the Earth's dynamic web of life, illustrating the delicate interplay between adaptation, opportunity, and survival. The mammalian lineage would continue to diversify, radiate, and evolve over millions of years, ultimately producing species capable of remarkable intelligence, culture, and innovation. The era of mammals is a testament to the enduring power of life to reinvent itself, to thrive amidst adversity, and to transform the planet in ways both subtle and profound. The evolutionary symphony, from first life to mammals' life on Earth, began in the most humble of forms, in shallow waters and primordial landscapes, where single-celled organisms multiplied and diversified. From these microscopic beginnings emerged complex, multicellular life, laying the foundation for the intricate web of ecosystems that would dominate the planet for hundreds of millions of years. As continents drifted and climates shifted, life adapted with astonishing creativity, gradually expanding from water to land, from microscopic cells to creatures capable of flight, hunting, and survival in varied environments. Among the earliest pioneers were birds and insects, whose evolutionary innovations forever transformed terrestrial ecosystems. Birds evolved from small, feathered theropods, discovering the power of flight to exploit resources inaccessible to ground-bound creatures. Their wings allowed them to travel vast distances, pollinate plants, and disperse seeds, creating links between distant habitats. Insects, equally ingenious, colonized air, soil, and vegetation, becoming indispensable to the balance of ecosystems. Their pollination of early plants, movement of nutrients, and roles as prey and predator shaped terrestrial life in ways that laid the groundwork for future complexity. As the first flyers navigated skies and forests, plants responded with unprecedented innovations. The emergence of the first fruits represented a sophisticated evolutionary strategy, a reward system that encouraged animals to disperse seeds and ensure plant propagation. Small, fleshy fruits offered nourishment to vertebrates and insects, forging a silent partnership between flora and fauna. Plants evolved vibrant colors, enticing scents, and diverse textures to maximize dispersal efficiency. These innovations enhanced biodiversity, facilitated colonization of new habitats, and created intricate ecological networks where both plant and animal thrived. Building upon this foundation, the first flowers appeared delicate, yet profoundly influential. Flowers were not merely reproductive structures, they were signals to the environment, crafted to attract pollinators through visual cues, ultraviolet patterns, scents, and rewards. Insects, birds, and other early vertebrates adapted in response, evolving sensory acuity, flight precision, and behaviors attuned to locating and exploiting these floral resources. This coevolution established mutual dependencies that increased biodiversity and created sophisticated, interconnected ecosystems. Amidst this botanical revolution, the first trees emerged, rising as towering pillars in forests and altering the vertical dimension of terrestrial habitats. Their lignified trunks, deep roots, and expansive canopies created microhabitats and moderated climates, while fallen leaves and decayed wood enriched soils. Trees reshaped landscapes, facilitated nutrient cycles, and offered shelter and sustenance for countless organisms. Vertical stratification allowed species to occupy distinct niches, from ground-dwelling insects to canopy-dwelling birds, fundamentally transforming ecological dynamics and creating the stage for the largest creatures to come. Into this verdant and dynamic world emerged the dinosaurs, a lineage of vertebrates that would dominate terrestrial life for over 160 million years. From agile predators to colossal sauropods, dinosaurs exhibited extraordinary adaptations in anatomy, behavior, and survival strategies. Their feeding habits, migration patterns, and social structures shaped landscapes, influenced plant evolution, and created cascading effects across ecosystems. Predators maintained herbivore populations. Herbivores modified vegetation structures, and social behaviors fostered complex ecological interactions, demonstrating the profound impact of a single dominant group on the biosphere. The era of dinosaurs represented a pinnacle of evolutionary experimentation across continents, climates, and landscapes. Dinosaurs occupied every ecological niche, from small nocturnal hunters to titanic herbivores towering over forests. Complex predator-prey dynamics, social hierarchies, and reproductive strategies defined their lives, while geological forces, shifting continents, and fluctuating climates added challenges that shaped evolutionary trajectories. Forests became denser, rivers and plains transformed, and life adapted to the constant presence of these giants, producing intricate networks of interdependence and competition. Yet, this dominance was not eternal. A catastrophic convergence of asteroid impact and volcanic activity triggered the mass extinction at the end of the Cretaceous period, abruptly ending the reign of dinosaurs. Global wildfires, tsunamis, atmospheric dust, and volcanic gases created an inhospitable world where large reptiles could not survive. ecosystems collapsed, plants wilted, herbivores starved, and predators perished. However, smaller, adaptable species, including mammals and certain birds, survived, setting the stage for the next evolutionary chapter. This extinction was not merely an end, but a prelude to a new dawn, where resilience, adaptability, and ecological opportunity determined survival. In the aftermath, mammals emerged as the new protagonists of Earth's story. Once small and inconspicuous, they now thrived in a world free from dinosaur domination. Rapid diversification allowed them to exploit varied habitats, forests, plains, wetlands, and underground environments. Specialized teeth, digestive systems, and limb structures enabled the exploitation of diverse diets, while sophisticated behaviors, parental care, and social structures enhanced survival. Mammals influenced vegetation, prey dynamics, and ecological cycles, becoming keystone species that reshaped landscapes and ecosystems alike. The evolutionary saga of mammals illustrates the power of resilience and innovation. From tiny nocturnal survivors to complex social species, mammals transformed Earth's biosphere, setting the foundation for primates, intelligence, and eventually humans. Their story embodies the interplay of adaptation, opportunity, and survival, demonstrating that even after catastrophic upheaval, life finds pathways to flourish. Across millions of years, mammals became central architects of ecosystems, shaping forests, rivers, and plains, and continuing the story of life's relentless drive to explore, adapt, and endure.